Good evening and welcome to our family webinar for the class of 2029. My name is Karita Geib and I'm Director of Parent and Family Relations here at Villanova University. It's my pleasure, my privilege to walk you through some of the ins and outs of what you're going to be encountering in just 2 short weeks. On August 20th, we are thrilled to be welcoming nearly 1,770 new residential students and students who are entering the university as commuters, as well as students who are transferring to us from other colleges and universities. Over the last year, we've been preparing and getting ready for this, which is the largest class in Villanova history. So you, the families, own that title along with your students to be our largest class, probably for a year. There's probably going to be another year that we exceed that number. This evening, I am joined by my colleagues, Alicia Dunphy-Culp, as well as Sebastian Moreland. Alicia is my director. She's also the senior director of the first year experience here at Villanova. So she is extremely well versed in all things orientation, as well as what your students probably going to encounter and experience over the course of the next academic year. And Sebastian Moreland is our 2025 student orientation chair. So he has extremely vast experience as a student here at Villanova, a great leader, wonderful representative of the university, but also has been fully immersed in planning for the class of 2029. And then my role here at the university is really to be your partner over the next 4 years. I'll be a guide and essentially provide information to you so that you can help support your student over the next 4 years. We always want the student to lead the experience. They're going to be doing the hard work in the classroom. They're going to be exploring new opportunities, making some hard decisions, but we know that they're going to feel more successful and more likely to thrive when they're supported by not just their university, but also the people who they care about most, their friends and their family. So this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through that move-in process that takes place on the 20th. We'll move into opening day of orientation and all that you as family members can make the most of with your student. And then we'll talk at a high level with Seb about some of the things that your student will be doing. There is a Q&A button that is available to you that you can send your questions through. We'll try to get to those through the evening, and then at the end, we will try to save some time for questions and answers. If we don't get to those, you're more than welcome. We have contact information in this. Alicia has her direct email address even on her screen for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We know that there are a lot of questions that come up. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this presentation over to Alicia. And we can get started with the nuts and bolts of what you're going to expect on move-in day. Alicia?
Thanks so much, Karita. And I'm excited to hear more from our families in the question and answer box. And Sebastian and I have been working for almost an entire year on the process to welcome all of our families and new students to campus in 2 weeks. We have our student leadership team that is here with us now. They moved in a few days ago, and the rest of our team comes a week from today. So we will start a process that we're already in a process that is ready to be welcoming and help you all join our Villanova community as much as your son or daughter. So a little bit about some kind of pre-information. We're going to go over a lot about move-in right now, and then we'll get to the opening day part as well. The QR code on the screen downloads our Nova Guides app. That's an app that we use that will kind of lay out the schedule for move-in day, opening day, allow you to pick and choose what you'd like to go to build, the events and programs that are best for your schedule and your family. It also, provides a map, information about our staff, things like that can be helpful all in one place. So it is a great app to have for move-in, for opening day, and it kind of also gives you an idea of what is happening during the other 3 days of orientation after opening day that your student will be a part of. It also, however, is kind of an important tool that we use to communicate with you about traffic patterns, or a certain parking garage is full and we're now redirecting people to a different location, or if there's a weather incident, we need to move indoors for something. We'll push all that out on the app. So the Nova Guides app, this may be the first time that you're downloading it, but we do use it at other events at Villanova. So the first one may be orientation, our orientation guide. There may be another one for other events, and certainly in 4 years from now, the commencement guide. So, but we use it here at Villanova frequently, and it's something that we find is very helpful to visitors to campus, especially with our map features and finding where you need to be and when, what's open, what's available for food options at that exact time that you're on campus. So it's a great asset for us, but it also is really helpful to our families and new students as they kind of get here and get settled. So I'd encourage folks to download that QR code. It is on just about everything we send you. It is in emails. That QR code is on print publications that we send out, and so you'll see it again and again. But this is a great opportunity if you'd like to take advantage. So that is a great way that we use our app, and I just want to take a second to share about the move-in and orientation guide, which you see there on your screen as well. That is a print publication that we are mailing to your homes. Just for clarification, because there's been some confusion, we did not mail them yet. So they're definitely not lost or at the wrong location or missing. They are getting in the mail literally tomorrow and Friday. So we will be mailing those, and those will get to your homes in the next few days. And we're excited that you would have them. The orientation guide and the move-in and orientation guide is a publication that allows you to kind of see the 2 days that really make the experience, exciting, but also logistical information. So that will have information that we're going to share tonight, and that will also be in a PDF form on our website. So if for some reason you're looking for it on Monday or Tuesday in the mail, and you really have a question, you can always reach out to us. But also that PDF will be on our website as something that people can reference, and it's kind of a one place with a lot of information. So in there will be similar to the guide. We'll have same things there, places to eat. There's a map. There's information about opening day and what to expect, and kind of to kick off our program. Even things like dress comfortably. It is warm in Philadelphia in August, and dress, you'll be walking a lot. So also, make sure you have good footwear choices. So making sure that you are comfortable is important to us, and orientation is a casual event. So don't feel like you need to be dressed up to be with us. It might be a little warm, in fact, to be overdressed. So just make sure that you are comfortable, whatever that may be. So tips like that are also in the guide. Importantly, the yellow hang tag that you see there that says sample is personalized to your student. So inside each orientation guide will be this hang tag that you will put on your rearview mirror when you come to campus. So those are color coded by building or area, and so that helps us point you in the right direction. It does have room information and student information, so that if we need to find the owner of this vehicle that's parked outside of this residence hall, we can go up to that room and figure out, where you are or what we need from you, or share some information about parking. So it helps us get in touch with you, and it also has some great information on the back. So while that information is facing forward, you can also read some information on the back of the hang tag that's helpful as you kind of pull into campus. So the hang tag, again, is specific to you. If you have had a room change, if the hang tag has wrong information, we have extra hang tags on site. So just head to the correct location, and we will make sure our public safety officers give you the correct hang tag. The hang tag is part of our operations process, and it helps us organize and run things very well. So we want you to have most of you to have that in the mail and ready to go. But if for some reason it doesn't get there, some of you are on vacation or are missing that, want to make sure that you have that. For those of you who are bringing 2 cars to move-in day, first of all, there is an announcement inside that guide that U-Haul trucks don't fit in our parking garages. So we just have to be careful about where you end up and how you go. So we prefer not to bring those U-Haul trucks. Hopefully you don't have that much stuff to be bringing, but we all know that that can be a reality for some. So we want to make sure also that if you have two cars, what we would ask is that one car have the hang tag and go to the residence hall. You'll be parking close to the residence hall when you have that first car there, and you'll be able to unload everything right there. You will then leave your residence hall area and go to a parking area. So we ask you to kind of unload everything quickly and head back out. So you would be handing in that hang tag and then getting a parking hang tag. So what we suggest is for those with two cars is that you have a couple of options. One is the first car goes directly to the residence hall, unloads the heavy things right there next to the building. And the second car would carry more like pillows and maybe towels and lighter things. And that would park in the adjacent parking lot. And in a second, we're going to get to a map that kind of explains some of this. So then we have shuttles, or you can walk down to the residence hall that you're in from that second car and just kind of do a few trips. And again, we have shuttles. The other option is that if that second car either wants to park in the garage for now or wants to unload later, after all of our move-in slots are complete, after about 5 o'clock, people can go directly to the residence halls. They don't have to wait in a line. They don't have to go to a queue. You can go directly to a hall. So the other option is for that second car either to be delayed until the late afternoon, or to park on campus in one of those parking structures and then circle back to the building in the early evening when they have time. So that's also true for our friends who might be going off campus to buy the thing that they forgot to pack. Everyone has something that they've forgotten. And if you need that item, there's a couple of options we'll talk about tonight, but also if you head off campus for dinner, you want to make sure that you know where you're going. You can head back directly to the halls after 5 p.m. So you can either park that car and walk things down using our campus shuttle, or just walking yourself with some bags and luggage and totes, or you can wait until a little bit later and get closer to the building. So that is the option for two cars. Karita, do you want to go to the next slide and we'll show them the map? So this will be inside that orientation guide. It is also on our app, and it is also all over our campus. So it's a map for the move-in process, and this one is a little unique to us. But what we want to focus on is whatever residence hall that your son or daughter is going to be in, that's what you want to focus on. We have several residence halls that were operational for first-year students in a few different areas. So we want to make sure that you're kind of locking in on the information you need, but this map has all the information we all need. So for example, starting from left to right, our friends who are living in Fettigan, Alumni, or Austin halls, they will enter at this gate off of Spring Mill Road that says moving traffic for Fettigan, Alumni, and Austin halls. They will head right there. Fettigan is right by the gate, and Austin and Alumni are a little bit further into campus. So they go there, they get their hang tag checked and pointed in the right direction. So they will then unload everything right near their car and then head out so that we can make room for another car that's waiting in the queue. And they head out to the parking lot. And so then there will be shuttles. You can see a little S with a little teardrop. That is our shuttle stop. So those folks will be directed to our S4 parking garage, and you can just hop over to Fettigan, it's right there, or hop on the shuttle. So either one is fine. So if you have a lot of bags, the shuttle sounds like a great option. If you've just sat in the car for 3 hours and want to stretch, a little walk might be an option as well. So that's kind of our process for all of the buildings. So if you were moving into Delory, O'Dwyer, or Simpson halls, there's another gate just south of the Fettigan gate that will be open just for move-in day. So you probably haven't been in this gate before. So even if you've come to campus a few times, this is something we open just for move-in day to help that flow. So they will come in, you'll be directed to the exact hall based on your hang tag again. And then you'll be coming out onto Lancaster Avenue and again, get a hang tag for the parking lot and head there and take that shuttle if you would like. So those are our friends in that area of campus. And so there's two gates, and it's important to know, especially the one that isn't our main gate, you want to make sure you're keeping an eye out and slowing down as you come up Spring Mill Road. So you'll see the language there and the little red arrows that point you inside the gate. For those who are living in Good Counsel, St. Catherine, Coghlan, McGuire, or Moriarty halls, you would be entering off Lancaster Avenue near Farrell Hall, And we have a great parking lot that we can kind of snake people through to stay in a queue. And then when there's room at your exact building, we can shoot you down to South Campus. So we are happy to, those hang tags are great because they allow us to say, we have, 5 spots at St. Catherine Hall. So we're going to take those 5 cars that have St. Catherine tags and shoot them down so that they don't have to kind of wait in line for the Stanford Hall to be operational. So we, have this system where you're lined up in a queue, but the hang tags are again a critical part of that. And we have those extras right there at that site. So you'll be able to get one if you need a hang tag. So everyone comes in through that area. Moriarty is right there. And so they get to park there and then unload everything right in that building. The other folks who are living on those buildings that are in South Campus would queue up and then be told by our public safety officers to continue down the road to South Campus. And that road is behind, you might not have seen it, but it's behind the Commons residence halls, which has the refectory and is right near the bridge. There's a road behind there. So you won't be on Lancaster Avenue. You'll actually be on our campus, kind of behind the roadway there. So we will, make sure that you get down to either Moriarty or South Campus through that entrance. And again, it's based on what's near your building and is there parking available and is there a spot where we can pull in. Due to numbers, even though they are also on South Campus, our Stanford and St. Monica halls will go to near the Gallberry lot at the right side of the map into the A2 lot, and that's behind our pavilion and behind our football stadium. So Gallberry Hall is it looks like a house, and that's a great location if you're heading there. That's what you want to look for. The stadium is very large, and so it's right past there, and you make a left into the lot. So we will stage you in there again, just making sure that you're in line and ready to go. And when there are spots at your residence hall, we take you right down Eichen Avenue and head to South Campus for that. We do find that we have some helpful police presence right there at the intersection. They've closed off certain parts of Eichen Avenue so that it's really just our traffic. So it's really nice to have some control over the where people are going and how they're getting there, so that we can stage people correctly. So we do find that the first people there zip right on through the whole staging and head right to the halls. But it's really important that those people also leave to go park in the parking garage after they're unloaded to make room for someone else that's been waiting in the queue as well. So we will constantly remind you and make announcements and try and get you to unload everything onto the sidewalk near your residence hall, and then have someone in your party move the car as the student is checking in. Checking in means getting your wild card, checking in with residence life at your building, and going up to your room and swiping the card to make sure everything is ready to go, and then we'll help you bring things up. Something that you will see is a lot of orientation staff members. There are 128 of us ready to help, so that's a lot of hands in all of the areas across campus. And what we do is, approach a car, ask if they want our help, find out the room number, and start bringing those items up so that, you feel comfortable leaving the spot, knowing that there's someone with the stuff and someone directing them where to go and some extra hands. So you can leave the spot there for someone else and go park in our parking garage, which is the one in South Campus. It's the purple box called I-1. And it's a large parking structure right on the center of campus. So you're literally just over the train tracks from the residence halls. So you can just pop down and join your family and help unload. So the orientation staff will be at every building, helpful hands. They are not going to be, able to help every person with every piece. We are helpful to you, whatever that may be. Some people, come with, many family members that want to be helpful and don't need us that much. And other folks are coming with just maybe one parent or sibling to be helpful. And we're happy to just get things inside as quickly as possible so that you can start making that residence hall your new home. So we want to facilitate the operational process, but we also aim to be helpful, on a day that can be long travel for some, emotional for some, and usually hot. So we are there to happily and energetically keep sweating through the day and move everything that you need through places. So oftentimes someone is staying with the stuff, the car is being moved, and we're getting you checked in just so that we can make more room, but we make sure kind of everything gets to your location when you're ready to unload. So that map is very helpful. A lot of things are color coded. I would say, again, the key is to know your hall and then only follow the instructions for that. So everyone will be going to one staging area or entering one gate, and then finding their hall and then going to park in a place. So when you think of it, it's just one loop for you. There's many loops on this map. And so don't want to be confusing, but we tried to identify the colors with the hang tag so that you can kind of look at this map and see where you're going. The map also serves well for if you're, around on campus on move-in day, you might want to find, where something is, and this map is helpful in just kind of navigating campus, knowing that you can get to the church bridge this way, or you can follow this path, just a helpful guide. But really it's designed for the move-in process and the cars that come to campus on that one day. You'll see down in the corner move-in lunch locations and refreshment stations. And we'll talk about that in a second, but know that those are also on the map so that you can find what might be closest to you from a, needing a drink of water, needing to sit for a minute inside the air conditioning to refresh, or grab lunch. So we'll talk about that as well, but this map will also have that so you can find everything that you need. Now moving on to kind of what to expect, arriving at your selected time and location. So a day or two after you got your residence hall information, we sent out a form that had you sign up for a time on move-in day. So it is great that you could pick a time anytime during the window about 8:30 till 3:30 or so. We have many spots in between, but our goal is that we limit some of the spots at some of the times so that we don't get kind of blocked up. If we said everyone can come whenever they want and everyone decided to come at the same time, we'd all be in trouble. So we try to just monitor it, but we let you choose that time. So we're not telling you what time you have to be there. You're telling us what time you want to come. So many of you have already chosen that time, which is great. And we ask for you to stick in that window or after. The general premise is that if we can get through the day with about everyone staying in about that window, that's great. We understand that we are not in control of what is happening on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And so, you may be late, and that's okay. We aim to be ready and in place as early as we can be, but we also know that we're expecting people at 8:30. So we will make sure that we are ready to welcome them and make sure that they're ready and start our process from the beginning. So you'll arrive at your selected time and location. So again, whichever window you picked with the hang tag and following the map, and the student will check in to receive their wild card. We do have some commuters in the class, and they get their wild card since they're not moving in. They'll get it the next day at opening day. Our orientation staff members, as I said, will be right there. A picture of Ryan, one of our friendly and sweaty orientation guys that will be really happy to be carrying the luggage on wheels, I'm sure, and some pillows. So we're excited to have people that, are really willing to be helpful, both physically, but also there to be a resource. If you have a question, if you aren't sure where food is, if you aren't sure where to find some water, anyone in the orientation shirt will be the ones to be helpful to you. We also have several Villanova staff members that volunteer their time that day to be out and about for parking, directing traffic, answering questions, being in the dining hall, and just saying, if anyone needs anything, we're here. You'll see them in bright red shirts, and they will be all over campus. No matter what area you're in, there's someone there that will be helpful to you that day. We do ask again that you move your car to that designated parking spot, and each area has them, and they have not, we have not had a problem where they filled up before, but we do have a secondary option if we do get over full. That just didn't happen last year. We were at the point where our parking garages could handle the capacity. So we're excited that we can kind of get you somewhere where there is either a shuttle or it's super close to your residence hall and you can just hop on back. So the move-in process is simple in the sense that getting here is sometimes emotionally part of the battle of the day. But once you're here, our goal is to make it an easy process from putting you in the correct staging line, shooting you down to your residence hall as soon as there's an open spot so that you're not sitting down there waiting to unload. And then us being helpful on site really is part of our process. a little bit about some of the resources and what to expect from a dining perspective or food resources. As I mentioned, there's water in many areas of campus. Sometimes waters, bathrooms, and food is offered in a variety of places. That's also on the map. So there are places that are that have that right there. Like Moriarty has a setup right in their residence hall. And on our South Campus, for example, they have a dining hall close by. That's going to be there. We have another one near the southwest corner in Drosdick Hall, which is our new engineering building. They will have a setup there with food as well. And then our dining halls are offering a free lunch to families and new students during move-in day. They're also offering, dinner will be provided to students if they're on campus, and parents sometimes either leave early or go to the hotel. So we will, of course, feed students that evening. The parents, sometimes take their kid out. We do have something that is happening that evening socially for students. As you can see there, it's residence hall programming. It's happening that evening at about 8:30 p.m. So plenty of time to go out to dinner, but also there is something for students to be back for. We have designed the whole day to be move-in because we know this can be a lot for some families to get here, get unloaded, get unpacked, and be ready to be there. And it can be a physically long day just from the heat and running around. So we want that whole day to be dedicated to getting settled, feeling like you have what you need, and we don't want to rush that. So we don't have any formal programming on Wednesday night for families or for the whole orientation program. So Residence Life is hosting something for students, and the food option will be there in the dining hall as well. As one thing that you're hoping to be prepared for is, getting everything here. And a lot of you have chosen to mail things, which we appreciate doing with the correct mailing address and, the pieces to the puzzle that you need to get them when they're here. So we have created a tent on South Campus where if your residence hall is there, all the packages will be under the tent, and you would just go to the tent and pick out your packages. They will have them for you. So whether it's one small box from Amazon filled with batteries that you forgot that you ordered the night before, or a larger haul from further away, we're happy to have your packages there. The number of packages has grown, so there is sometimes a pickup line of a few people deep, but often people are getting multiple packages, and we need to make sure that they have all of what they've shipped to us gets in their hands. For our main campus residence halls, we will be delivering them directly to your room. So you will get there and the packages will be in your room. So that is a feature. Our mail office, our mail center used to be right on main campus, and that is now under construction, and they've moved off campus to just down the street. So we want to make sure that you have access to it, whereas usually we would have sent you close by to the entire mailroom. That's not there anymore. So we will put them in your room for you. And then St. Mary's, if you're in St. Mary's, they have their own mailroom. So that is where your packages will be. And it's exciting to have that be, centralized on South Campus, but also when it can't be centralized on main campus, we make it easy for you and just put it right in your room. The bookstore and helpful services pop-up will be on Sheehan Beach. Those are two hexagons, maybe, that are on your map. One is purple and one is gold. The bookstore is in St. Mary's, which is on West Campus. And if you were looking for one or two things, they've decided to actually make a pop-up tent that has more, dorm related things, command strips, extension cords, lamps, some sheet sets. So while you might traditionally have a bookstore of either books or merchandise that says, go Cats, they have that for sure. But they are focusing the pop-up tent more on essentials that you might have forgotten, or trying to save you a trip down the street to Target or to find a grocery store to get what you need. So we really want to make sure that if you can stay on campus, that's an option for you. So the pop-up tent will be there, as well as a free store of things that we've been able to recycle from a move-out process to now a move-in process. So we have a sustainability effort on campus, and that will also have a tent there. We do have some services that will be popped up on main campus as well. And that's near Sheehan Beach, which is right behind the big Villanova University sign at the intersection. It is not sandy. Do not look for the water. It's just kind of this large, open, grassy area in front of Sheehan Hall. So we will have the university pop-up store. the Restore Free Store, which is a recycled event, as well as like our partners with Chase Bank. That's the ATM on campus. So they'll be there if anyone wants to sign up for a banking component right here in the area. And a couple other services will be everywhere. Places, think people like our technology support are kind of floating around all that day, as well as making sure that you have kind of what you need from a cord perspective and streaming and television and such. So we want to make sure that you have everything that you need. And some of those pop-up areas are kind of centrally located so that you don't have to find them necessarily. They are coming to you. So want to make sure that you're aware that if you do forget something, it is an option to pick it up right there. And then again, that student residence hall programming starting there. I did want to mention, the water and the dining options are great for move-in day. Also in the orientation guide, it will mention that, breakfast and lunch are provided for students, throughout the program. The meal plan does not start until later in the weekend, but through the orientation program, they're scheduled to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with their orientation group, and they'll be provided a green wristband that will get them into the dining halls for free. So although the meal plan is not operational, we do have ways to make sure that everyone is eating. Also, the parents and families will also be receiving a free lunch from our dining services on opening day, which is the day after move-in. And then we were having a family picnic after our opening mass. So there's also the dinner that we're having together through our Wawa picnic. So there are dining options on campus throughout. Many of them are open, I think, until about 8 o'clock, 7:30 or 8 o'clock for dinner. And many of them have continuous service, which means that they start opening at about 7:30 and are serving different things straight through till about 9. So you want to make sure that, your student knows everything that they can and need is right there at their fingertips. Orientation is going to be helpful in not just telling them where to eat, but also feeding them in different locations so that they kind of get a feel for what each dining hall can offer them and what they might have as a favorite. So those are some of the pieces of the puzzle for move-in day and the process. There does seem to be, a lot of questions that I think will be answered by that move-in guide when it arrives at your door. The hang tag is something people really want to hold on to, and so we appreciate that you keep looking for the hang tag. But we also know that we have them here in case you need them. So it is something, I know a lot of people have been excited about. It just hasn't hit the mailboxes just yet. Karita, were there any questions anything that I missed? Oh, I think you're on mute, Karita.
Sorry, I was so excited typing to some of our attendees with some of the questions. There were a couple that I think I'll lift up regarding the size of vehicles. I think a lot of us are thinking U-Hauls or larger vans with maybe carriers on top. Those cars are absolutely useful and welcome to drive your student and drop off at the halls. They will not fit, unfortunately, in the parking garages. So the answer to that is that you'll be directed to park that larger vehicle on West Campus. We welcome you to walk, or we also have shuttles back to whatever hall you need to get back to. I think you hit it with the meals. There were a couple of questions just about whether students will be provided meals during that time. And I think one of the pervasive questions that kind of comes up every year for us, Alicia, is just timing of when to arrive at your staging area, just so that, if you've signed up for a 9 a.m. time, what your recommendation might be for when a student and their family should get to that staging area.
The move-in time is a window where we expect you to arrive, but that could be to campus. So I think, whatever your normal mode, if you live normally an hour away on a weekday, and sometimes in the middle of the day of a weekday, you might not hit too much traffic. We just ask you to anticipate that same drive. Oftentimes it is, in this center of campus, the Lancaster Avenue, the Ithan Avenue, that gets the congestion, not necessarily too far from us. So we find that the normal amount of time to get to our exit is kind of what to expect. So if it takes you 2 hours, or you're staying at a hotel nearby and you think it's going to take you 30 minutes, we ask that you aim for that, because we're all going to be aiming for that. And then, it'll kind of all work itself out. But I think, there's no harm in being early, but that's not our expectation. And if you were to show up, if your window was 9:30 and you showed up at 10:30, no one is going to make you go to the end of the line and wait. So it is very much, we're hoping everyone aims for that time, but we know that there are extenuating circumstances that may delay some, may get some here early. So I would say as soon as you are here to get in line, the hang tags are have information on them, and if we need to find you, we can always go, look ahead and find you. But we are not going to be like looking at the number and saying it's only 10:15, you have to wait 15 more minutes until 10:30. So that's not our goal. But if everyone follows the process and the policy of just kind of aiming for that time, again, our inner streets are the ones that get congested, not often on the highway. So and people have called me like, I have a flat tire, I can't get there until 6 o'clock. Like, so we know that these things happen and we're prepared for them, and have some contingency plans. So we want to make sure that people just arrive safely and kind of aim for that time. And that's the best that we can all hope for.
Great. And there were also just a couple of questions about, if from a facilities perspective, if families and students need help with furniture or adjusting any of that, will there be people on hand to help with that? How are those types of things handled?
Sure. So our um, ideal component is that if you have something that is wrong in the residence hall itself, you get up there and you realize the air conditioning isn't working, or you want your bed raised or lowered, or you need something moved. That is something that we post in every check-in point, and every student will receive a QR code that they can scan. And that goes directly to our facilities components and creates a work order. So the QR code in the rooms is really the best possible way to kind of start that process. And it's something that goes into the work order system, but also we've anticipated that we will have a lot of requests. And so we will kind of move forward and make sure that we have the option for someone to get over there quickly. So we have kind of crews in each area, and once the work order comes in, they get dispatched to the room to do the thing that they need to do. Everyone will have a twin XL. That often is a question. This year, every single room is a twin XL, but it used to be swapping out, some mattresses for the longer ones for our taller friends. But it is, that's not going to be an issue this year, but that is an example of something that's in the room. We would need to swap something out, and you would just use that QR code and they would come with that.
Great. I think that's kind of the last of the groupings. I'm sure as I pop in here, you'll see some questions that you're able to answer, and then we'll raise those up again at the end. But I'm going to pop in right now and talk a little bit about the 21st, which is our opening day of orientation. And it's a great day for families to get involved in the student experience. The morning is really reserved for family members and caregivers to be able to learn a little bit more about the resources and the opportunities for our students. Two ways to do that. One is our information sessions that will begin at about 9:15 on Thursday morning, the 21st. And I'm not going to read through all of these or deep dive into an overview. I think the titles are pretty self-explanatory, but I think what you're going to see is that there is a great assortment of information sessions for family members to attend. They are geared to you, the parents, the caregivers, not necessarily the students. So if they want to hang back, spend some time with a roommate, do some work on their room, it's a great time for them to do so. They're going to get a lot of this information over the next 4 days. So, they're welcome to attend, but just from a past experience as a seasoned mom at the university, it's not always necessary for the students to attend. So we have everything from Augustinian connections with one of our priests here on campus that'll talk to you about how St. Augustine weaves his way into what we teach and we talk about with our students, all the way to student employment and safety here on campus. You can pick and choose those sessions. You're welcome to go to all three of the sessions. You can go to one of them. Simultaneously over in the In the Finneran Pavilion, the home of the men's and women's basketball team, we will be hosting a family resource fair with over 50 resources and campus partners on hand, so that your student can ask. They're more than welcome to come to this with you as well. But if there's specific questions that you might have for our learning support services or from the dietitian and dining services, this is a great opportunity for you to make a connection and an introduction. So we have all of those resources on hand for you. Highly encourage you to pop in anytime between 10 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. To talk with those people. They're extremely excited to meet all of you and to meet your students a little bit in advance. Following this, we have a very busy schedule in the afternoon, and no better of a person to lead us through that busy schedule than Sebastian Moreland. He's been the architect of a lot of this programming, and I can't wait to have him lead you through what you can expect and what you can look forward to through that afternoon.
Yeah, so kind of an overlook of the opening day here. You know, those information sessions. In the morning, we have some special lunches and events in the middle of the day, and then really our big programming starts with our university welcome at 1 p.m. on the Rowan campus screen, or in the Finn, you know, in case of rain. And that's just some words from our university president, Father Peter, our vice president for student life, Kathy Burns, the provost here of the university, Sean Majidi, and myself. So, and then after that address, we have the orientation counselors meet with the new students, and then the parents and families meet with the academic deans. So, you know, the dean of the College of Nursing, of Business, of CLAS, and of engineering, all meet with our parents and families, and then the new students meet with the orientation counselors. And so, you know, our new students and parents and families split up for some time, and then they kind of flip-flop. So after that, the parents and families meet with the orientation counselor, and then the new students go and meet with their academic deans, where they present some information on the academic side of things, and the parents and families get to meet the new student, the orientation counselor, and they kind of walk through what the next 3 days will look like for their new student, and then get introduced to really this mentor and someone that's going to walk along with your student over the next couple of days and weeks, and really we find throughout their first year of university life and beyond. So and then after those meetings, that'll end at 3:55, and then at 4:15 we have our opening mass, which is open to individuals from all faith backgrounds, and that's when our families and new students will rejoin and attend that opening mass together. And then after that ends at about 5:15, we'll have our family picnic over on Mendel Field, provided with some Wawa hoagies and things like that. And that family picnic will end, you know, at about 6:15, and our families will depart at that time, and then the new students will meet back up with their orientation counselors. And we have it in the schedule just so that you know, our families and parents know when their new student is departing from them. And we provided you all with some tissues and things like that given to you by your orientation counselor. So, you know, that's sometimes a difficult time, but also a handoff that is made easier by all of our parents and families getting to meet the individual that will walk with their new student, not just over the course of the next 3 days, but also throughout their first year here at Villanova. And then the new students will spend the next 3 days of orientation learning all around our campus, making friends in their orientation group and in other orientation groups, and really starting to learn what it means to be a Villanovan.
That's great. And again, I have 2 children here at the university who've gone through this. And it is, that afternoon is a busy one. And I think that one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you as a parent is to pack your patience and to pack, you know, your energy as well, because there's going to be a variety of emotion coming from your students, which is completely normal, everywhere from excitement to nervousness to mom and dad, grandma, you know, aunt and uncle, please leave. And all of that is all within the realm of normal, but always sometimes a little bit jarring for us as parents, as we're also experiencing this sometimes for the first time, sometimes it could be your third or your final child to depart. So it is an exciting time, and I can't wait for you all to experience that. We do have time for some questions, if you don't mind, Seb and Alicia. There are a couple of other ones that are popping up. This first one I can take about August 21st, when families come back to campus for the opening day of orientation, about parking. There will be, you'll see a lot of signage along Lancaster Avenue about what parking lots are open and available. We also have the Radnor Police Department, who will be directing traffic and walking traffic throughout that morning and that afternoon. So you will be able to park, you know, on Lancaster Avenue parking lots, as well as that I-1 garage again. So you'll be directed all along there. Parking is free, so you don't need to worry about that for that weekend. So please, you know, that's the last thing to have to worry about. Seb and Alicia, there's been a few questions about use of elevators during move-in. Could either one of you speak to that, and just how, you know, larger items will be moved from cars or from the pile, you know, outside of the residence hall into the students' dorm room?
Yeah, sure. I saw a question about hand trucks or dollies. Like, that's not something that we have a lot of on hand. You're welcome to bring them from home and use them. There's occasionally some carts that are through our mail services if they have very many packages that you need to take back and forth, but they're kind of not everywhere on campus. And the reason that is that while, for example, Stanford Hall has an elevator, it is one elevator for 512 students. So if you were going to wait for that elevator, you could be there long past the first week of classes, waiting to take that up and down and get all of your things in there. So wheeling the cart in, you know, and then waiting for the elevator and wheeling isn't your friend, because in many of our residence halls, I'm thinking of St. Monica, St. Catherine, Coghlan, McGuire, I know O'Dwyer, Simpson, Fettigan, every other residence hall won't have an elevator. They're usually like 2 or 3 floors high. There isn't an elevator in the space. And so really what it would do is our hand truck would get you from the car to the front door. But then you'd have to be going up the stairs. So it's not, I know some of our more urban schools nearby have kind of a big laundry cart system, and they just put that in there, send it up, and you unload it. But for us, it's more small trips. So that is something to consider when you're packing, and you know, how you package things, is that it might be great to have this huge box with everything in it, but can you carry that, you know, upwards to the stairs? So that is something that I know we got the questions of. So most of the residence halls do not have elevators, and the ones I'm thinking that do get really, you know, backed up that day, and are not, you know, kind of zipping up and down and around, just due to the volume of people. So we don't encourage elevator use, and it's not an option for many of the places. Also had a question about the AC. All the residence halls have AC, but you know, here in Philly, if you're from out of town, we love ourselves some August humidity. And so the minute we open those doors and are schlepping every package in and fitting, you know, a lot of people in these smaller buildings, you know, you figure for each room, there's supposed to be 2 residents, and there's sometimes those 2 residents, their 2 parents, an occasional younger brother, like just kind of making the room feel very small and hot. So although the air conditioner may be pumping, you know, you're really not going to feel it unless you're that first person in the room at 8:30. So know that it is on. Know that we are trying, but I think we intentionally prop open all the doors so that people can get in from different directions and kind of come in and out of the building freely without, you know, trying to hold the door open with that big package. So wanting to make sure that people are aware that there is air conditioning, but if you're looking for that breath of cold air, those dining locations and hospitality stations will be your friend. because that'll be the place where you will find the most relief if needed. I did also check while we were presenting, I did have an earlier conversation. The max clearance for the garages on campus is 8'2", so 8 foot 2 inches. So if the van doesn't fit that clearance, whether it's the topper or U-Haul kind of thing, then we would direct you to some of the surface lots. As Karita said, you will be able to get close to the residence hall to unload. It's just a matter of when you go to move it, we'll make that other accommodation to a surface lot. So 8'2" is that number to watch for.
I also
Very
just want to emphasize, sorry, just how willing and able our OSMs are and our volunteers are that day to help you move in things. I'm seeing some questions about, even if I'm on that 5th floor of Stanford with a heavy object, will I be able to get that up there? Yes. Our orientation counselors and leaders are more than willing to help you. I've carried, very heavy things, for during move-in day. I always check my health app after move-in day, and it's like 50,000 steps or something. So and they're ready to go at 8 a.m. and they're still going at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. And so I just, if you're worried about a large object or how many floors up you are in a residence hall, I would say that our students are more than willing to help you, and they're excited to welcome you into your new home. So
I'm always amazed at how happy they are to do this, especially when we have children that, sometimes don't want to pick up things in their rooms, but then they're like running to, I see my kids, running to go help, carry a refrigerator up 5 flights of stairs. It's amazing. And like Seb said, I think we have, over 150 staff and faculty volunteers for that day as well. So we're really well equipped and ready for, all of the things that are being packed and driven into campus. A couple of other ones that I think that there are a lot of questions about what's allowed in the rooms and not allowed in the rooms. And I really encourage you to go out to the Residence Life website. They have a great outline of things that are allowed in the rooms and not allowed in the rooms. A lot of times the recommendations are made because we don't want paint coming off the walls and assessments at the end of the year, or, in the case of headboards, they really do create mold problems behind them when moisture is caught between a wall and a cloth surface. So those types of things are all outlined on that Residence Life website. And I would encourage you to take a look at that, as well as for computer systems, that type of thing. Each of the colleges has different specifications, so I encourage you to take a look on the website. Each of those colleges has mapped out specific operating systems for each of those that each of your students would need per college. And I think that is kind of getting to where we need to get to right now. I'm just looking at, actually, Alicia, if I could, I did see quite a few questions. I'm going to toggle back up to the map. And if you could talk to sorry, I scooted past that. There have been a lot of questions about parking for the like Fettigan, Delory areas. And if they're coming to a staging area, can you just walk through briefly that portion again for that staging area, and then where they move for parking afterward?
Sure. So for Fettigan alumni in Austin, you would head into that first area there, kind of in the dead center of the screen. Fettigan is that first little green box there as you turn in. And then if you're an alumni in Austin, you will proceed down the pathway that is usually a walking path, but we make it a driving path for move-in day. So if you're looking for a road, you won't find it. It'll look more like pavers and a pathway for walking. So you'll be kind of put directly to each of the halls. Once you unload everything and get checked in and then go to move your cars, the public safety officers there at Fettigan will kind of direct you out the gate again and take you back, continue up north on the same road that you came in on. And then you'll be parking in S4, which is that purple area with the little shuttle space over there. So that is where the shuttle will pick you up and where you would park. And that's also where, if you had a second car for Fettigan alumni or Austin, that's where you would park that. So it does kind of keep you all in that same area. So alumni and Austin halls are kind of in the middle of the campus. They're the little purple and yellow boxes there. You'll be able to pull up again and then take another pathway out directly towards that S4 parking garage. So, which is at kind of the top of the map there. So that is where they would be for our Delory, O'Dwyer, and Simpson halls. Delory is that first little light blue box right there as you come in. So we will have parking spaces there for people to unload, and then they will be directed to continue through the map past Simpson and past O'Dwyer, which are the two little pink boxes there, and head out on Lancaster Avenue. So the public safety officer there will give you a hang tag that has directions on where to go at all of these places. You'll be handing in your park near the residence hall hang tag that we mail you, and you'll receive a park in the parking garage hang tag that also has directions. So you'll be heading out on Lancaster Avenue, making a right, and then make another right on Spring Mill Road and shoot up again north to that S4 parking lot where the shuttle is. So those two, six residence halls will all be connected to S4, which is our law school parking lot. It's located right after the train tracks there. So you'll see some different opportunities, but it's kind of well marked that day with parking flags and public safety officers and people welcoming you directly into that multi-level large parking structure. For our friends who are on South Campus, whether that's the people that come in Good Counsel, St. Catherine, Coghlan, and McGuire, will come in at L2, kind of down further on the map. They will head over to the South Campus, which is a very rainbow, colorful area in the corner there. After they unload, they will head to I-1, which is the purple box right above that stadium station, which is in a different train line. So they will literally be just the train tracks where you can see it from there. You can't be closer. So those folks will be right there, as well as our friends who start in Stanford and Monica in the A2 lot, which is in the upper right. They come down to South Campus and again get shuttled back to the I-1 garage. So that will be the hub for the South Campus folks. For those who live in Moriarty, we're going to save parking spots for you to pull up and unload. And then there's a few other parking spots that might be close. We're trying to make sure that we have enough room for our everyone to queue up from all of the residence halls. We kind of do a little serpentine throughout the parking lot. So we'll set aside areas, whether it's in that L2 parking lot, which is right next to Moriarty, or across the way by the bridge lot. So you'll be close to your residence hall as well, and be able to walk down there. So that'll either be in the L2 lot or the bridge lot, which is just grayed out by St. Thomas Way. So those are kind of the secondary places that you will be. They are either really close to your residence hall if you're in that South Campus world, and if you're more on the interior of campus and our main campus halls, you'll be at the law school lot, which is that S4, but there is that shuttle stop there. So the shuttle stop will be both at S4, the bookstore, and the main gate. So if you're looking to go to some of our resources at the pop-up tent, for example, or see Chase Bank, they are going to be at that purple and yellow hexagon in the middle of your map. So you can take the shuttle to the main gate and you'll get really close to there. So the shuttle will have a few different stops, but it will take you back towards the Fettigan area, which will get you to the residence halls, or the main gate, or the bookstore, or the parking lot.
All right, as you can tell, we could talk about all of this all night long. And I know there are probably some questions that are a little bit more detailed. And we would certainly love to be able to help answer those questions. And if you would like to direct any of those questions to myself over the next couple of weeks, please do so. It's a very easy email, parents@villanova.edu. If I can't answer, I will certainly help you get to that answer in a timely fashion.